Hey everybody, this is John from I Dig High Tones. We're on one of our favorite fields today. We're going to do a little detecting. It's an old farm, hundreds of acres. The house dates back to the 1800s. In front of the house, there's about 100 yards of a field that, when we were here last time, was under about a foot of grass. It's been cut. It's a bit short, not too short, but it's short enough to do some detecting. So we're going to have a look there and see what we find between the house and the road. And yeah, beautiful day here, 83, 84 degrees. Let's get started. And before we do, please give this video a thumbs up, like it, and subscribe if you really like our videos and want to see more of them. Those likes and subscribes add up, and they help us in the algorithms to find more people who are interested in metal detecting and share our adventures. So, well, let's get going. Meet you on the first hole. See you soon. Hey, and our first signal of today is a penny. It's got some good detail to it, and it is a wheat penny. So, yeah, not bad. 1947 or 2? 1942. There you go. World War II penny right there. First signal, not down deep. It was really right on top of the grass here. Well, on to the next. Well, folks, we've been pulling up a lot of trash so far. Been here about a half hour. And we got a signal here. It's coming up as a 61. I think this is going to be a nickel. And I think I see it here. And it looks like it's a Jefferson nickel. So nothing too terribly old. See if we can get a date off of it. Not a buffalo, as we thought we might have here. Oops. Well, what do you know? 1961. That's a very, very good year. And, well, on to the next. Well, folks, like I say, even if it's a modern nickel, 1961, if you're finding 1961 nickels here, you could just as easily find 1961 dimes, and then we'd be on the silver. So, you know, you got to dig it all and keep looking. So, on to the next.
Well, this was a really good signal, one of the best of the day. Went down deep in this hole, you can see. Digging down deep, the signal was right in the sensor, so it sounded like a good signal. And it was a deep hole, you can see here with my pinpointer. Very deep, probably about 12 inches. Thought it was going to be a silver dime, but instead got fooled. That's what it was, a piece of aluminum can top. It was down deep.
Okay, we've got another classic 6061 here. Likely to be a nickel. Nice, strong, round sound. It's ringing up over here in this little pile. And let's see. We have, well, that is not a classic nickel. That is what we've been getting all day long. Canslaw. Canslaw. All right, well, so much for classic 61. Well, folks, we have another classic 61 about, 15 feet from our last classic 61. And I didn't even bother live digging this one, but here you go. It is a nickel. And it is not an old nickel. It is a Jefferson. And do we have a date on the back? I mean, on the front? We probably do, but we're not seeing it at the moment. It's a nickel. It's modern. It's been on the ground for a while, but it is definitely a late zinc nickel. On to the next. All right, folks, we have our best signal of the day. We've got a 90, 91 here, a nice tight signal. Could be silver. We're going to give it a dig. If it's silver, it's a dime. Let's see what we got. Still in the hole and coming up solid 90 now. We're directly in front of the 1800s house. Still down there, 90, 91, 93. So signal's getting better as we go deeper. And hopefully not a can. There's a lot of aluminum around here. But let's see if we can get down there. Shouldn't be much deeper. It's over here. Okay. Well, the video let me down when it comes to showing what was in that hole, so I'll show you now. This is what came out of there. It's got some shiny to it. It's heavy, but it's not silver. Looks like maybe stainless steel, chrome, something like that. And trying to figure out exactly what it was. It's got a sort of tapered end here, a rivet that maybe that was a screw or fastener of some sort. This end is broken. It's got a slight curve to it. I'm kind of thinking maybe a drawer pull for some furniture, something like that. Maybe a tractor part. Not sure, but it is what it is. It's shiny, but not the shiny we're looking for. And, well, came out of that hole. On to the next. Well, finally, folks, we are back on the silver. It was an 84, 85, 86, but it was compact, a really tight signal on the high side, but it wasn't reading high on the meter. But already turned it over, and here we go. We've got a Mercury. We got a Mercury dime, and let's see, 1916. 1916 is this Mercury dime. So I think this is either our third or fourth Mercury, and at least the second from this field, this farm. Quite worn, but it is a 1916, and a little bit of a scratch across the front. And let's have a look at the back. See if there is a mint mark on the back. I don't see one, but I'll take a closer look. Well, folks, I'm just realizing that this is a very special dime, this 1916. We are in the middle of the field, and it's very hot out here. I don't think that's my scratch on the front, although it's hard to say. But that is definitely a 1916 dime on the front. Now, the big question is the reverse, and whether that is a D or an S on the back. That is the big question, whether that is a D or an S. And I cannot honestly tell from the field here. There is a mint mark. That to the left of the bottom of the stalk, this little blobby there, just to the right of the E and below the stalk, there is a blob of a mint mark. Now, whether that is a D or an S, I think we're going to need to get home to be sure. Actually, I have a loop in the car. I will be able to see in the car, but it's kind of an exciting find here this morning. 1916. The front is nice. It's pretty nice. It does have the scratch, which can't uh, I can't say I didn't do, but it's certainly quite possible. So let's hope that if it's a D, I didn't do the scratch. And if it's not a D, well, then it won't matter because the 1916S was made in huge quantities, so it's not very rare. But the 16D is extremely rare, and in this condition, even with the scratch, is probably, um, well, I'm not a coin collector of modern coins, but I suspect it's at least $1,000, maybe $2,000. Hard to say. I know it's a very desired coin. It's the key date in the Mercury Dimes series. So we'll give it a clean and take a closer look later.
Here's another interesting find of the day. It's a penknife. Probably, what, 40, 50 years old, maybe a little older. It's decent shape. It's one rivet here on the back is out, so you've got a little splaying in the back. But yeah, not a bad find. Kind of a really narrow, thin penknife. Could be kept in your pockets easily. And yeah, down about 4 or 5 inches. Not a bad find.
Now, I'm sure some of you out there are cringing. We dug a 1916 dime in the field. We couldn't identify it in the field. Um, well, we couldn't identify the mint mark in the field. And you're probably saying, John, go back, take a look. What is it? It could be a D. Well, when you're detecting and you're not necessarily a coin collector, you're really looking for the next signal, the next object. So you're not as obsessed with figuring out what every coin you dug is in the field, which is why we're waiting till now, till we're back at the car, the end of the day, to take a closer look at the 1916. The odds are it's an S because of the two mint marks. That's the one that's far more plentiful, but it could be a D. And if it's a D, it's a quite valuable coin, even with the little scratch, because the coin itself, while it's got some wear around the rim, is actually in pretty good shape. So, well, let's cross our fingers. Let's hope that we have a 1916D and take a closer look. I'm back at the car. I've got my loop. We will go in and have a look. So we're back at home base, and I want to take a look at what the reference books say about that 1916 Mercury dime. P, D, or S. So P, there's no mint mark, that's Philadelphia. D is Denver. S is San Francisco. So the best reference to consult is the Red Book, 2025 Red Book here. It lists every American coin and gives some values, which is a good indicator of the market, not necessarily gospel. Dealers use something called gray sheet to track fluctuations in pricing, but the Red Book is a good solid reference. Got the page open right here to the Mercury dime, so let's take a look at what it tells us about the value of 1916 Mercury dime. And here you can see the 1916 was produced in vast numbers. Over 22 million of the first year of the Mercury dimes were made, and prices on those are pretty much what you'd expect for a coin minted in such huge numbers. But when you drop down to the 1916D, you can see only 264,000 were minted, and even a good 4. This is really the sort of bottom of the range coin with very little detail, would bring $1,200 according to the Red Book. And you can see it jump up in very good 1750, fine 12 at 3,000, and so forth. So it jumps quickly, and when you get into the higher conditions, it's a really, really sought after coin. But of course, we also have a 1916S, and this was the San Francisco minted coin, about half the volume of the plain coin or the Philadelphia minted coin. And you can see that terms of prices, it's pretty much a melt silver coin. Yep. So we either have a D or an S. It wasn't completely definitive in the field. So let's have a closer look and see what our 1916 is. Well, let's take a look at the reverse and the moment of truth. Is it a D or is it an S? Well, let's have a look. You can see wear around the edges of the coin. It was circulated, but it still has some decent detail to it. And you can clearly see a mint mark down here to the right of the E in the word one, just under the stalk, that little blob of metal there. That is the mint mark. And let's go in for a closer look. I have a magnifying glass if we need it, but as I get closer to this mint mark, I think you're seeing what I'm seeing. Even though it's worn and sort of filled in from the wear, I think what we have here is, unfortunately, an S from San Francisco. Yep, I think that's exactly what we have, a 1916 S. So unfortunately not a D, and I guess I'm happy that it's not a D, given the scratches that I inflicted on the front of the coin. Still, it's a silver, and we always like silver because silver is a high tone, and nice to add it to the collection.
Well, that'll do it for this week's edition of I Dig High Tones. Like, subscribe, and join us next time for another metal detecting extravaganza. May all your tones be high tones. And the rest of the non-trash that we found today, just a bunch of taco money and some sort of handle, something silvered, but not silver. And that's about it. The Mercury dime, the penknife, and the taco money.